Sapiens. Chapter 2. Explained. The cognitive revolution that changed everything. Imagine a world where there are no gods, no countries, no money, no stories, just animals surviving, eating, escaping predators, mating, dying. That was Earth, until about 70,000 years ago. Then, something happened, something big. A spark ignited inside the mind of a species called Homo sapiens. And in a geological blink, they went from being just another primate to building civilizations, inventing religion, conquering continents, and eventually splitting the atom. Welcome to Chapter 2 of Sapiens. The Tree of Knowledge. In this video, we're diving into the single most important turning point in human history, the cognitive revolution. We'll explore how it transformed us from insignificant apes into masters of myth, war, and cooperation. Why are we the only species telling stories, creating nations, and believing in gods? Because of a superpower, Harari says, changed everything. Let's unpack it. Buckle up, this one's going to challenge what you think makes us human. What exactly was the cognitive revolution? According to Harari, it was a sudden leap in the mental abilities of Homo sapiens that occurred around 70,000 years ago. This wasn't about bigger brains. Humans already had those. It was about something else. The ability to imagine things that do not physically exist. Before this revolution, humans could perceive the world, interact with objects, and maybe use simple tools. But they couldn't cooperate in large numbers. Their communication was limited. So, sapiens lived in small bands like other primates, 30, maybe 50 individuals. No more. But after the cognitive revolution, everything changed. Sapiens began to use complex language, not just to warn each other about lions, but to share stories, gossip, and most importantly, create shared beliefs. And that's the key, because once you can create shared myths, you can unite hundreds, thousands, even millions of people. That's something no other species can do. Chimpanzees can form groups, but they break down at around 150 individuals. Why? Because they rely on personal relationships and physical dominance. But humans? We cooperate based on shared fictions. That's not a weakness. It's our superpower. Harari gives us an incredible idea here. Fiction created civilization. What kinds of fiction? Gods, nations, corporations, human rights, laws, money. All of these are imagined realities. Think about it. There's no physical entity called Google. You can't touch the United States. You can't show someone human rights in a microscope, but we believe in these things. We act like they're real. And because we all agree they're real, they become powerful. This is what Harari calls intersubjective reality. It's not subjective, like a dream. And it's not objective, like gravity. It exists between people. As long as enough people believe, it functions. This is why humans rule the world, not because we're strong, fast, or have sharper teeth. It's because we can tell collective stories. Stories that convince millions of strangers to fight in wars, pay taxes, obey laws, or believe in the same God. It is why Harari says that the cognitive revolution is history's biggest fraud, because the world we built is based not on truths, but on powerful illusions. And once humans began weaving those illusions, nothing could stop them. But wait, how did storytelling actually begin? It might seem strange, but Harari believes it started with gossip. Yep, gossip. He argues that gossiping is actually an advanced social tool. When you live in a small group, knowing who's loyal, who cheats, who's trustworthy, that's survival information. Language developed so we could talk about others, not just about food or danger. But once language evolved enough to gossip, it also became complex enough to tell legends, myths, rituals. And then came something huge: cooperation at scale. Before, humans could only form tribes of 150 people at most, but with shared myths, we could build societies of millions. That's the real revolution. Take religion. Belief in a common God allowed strangers to see each other as family. Or money. Belief in currency allowed massive trade networks to form. Language and the ability to tell shared stories is what made those systems possible. It's what made us possible. One of Harari's most provocative ideas is that myths are more powerful than reality. Let's test that. What killed more people in the 20th century? Lions or ideologies? What moves billions of dollars every day? Natural resources or belief in currency? Harari argues that humans will kill, die, and sacrifice for stories more than facts. In fact, most of what we fight over, borders, flags, gods, is imaginary. But don't confuse imaginary with unimportant. That's the trap. Fictions aren't false. They're what allow us to function. They're tools, and some of them are noble, like human rights, which only exist because we choose to believe in them. So, are myths bad? Not necessarily. Harari isn't judging, he's revealing. He's asking us to look at our world and see the invisible strings pulling it together, because once we see them, we have a chance to rewrite the story. But with great power comes, well, you know. The cognitive revolution wasn't just about cooperation and progress, it also unleashed chaos. Humans began migrating across the planet, entering new environments and wiping out countless species along the way. Why? Because now they could organize, strategize, and dominate together. This is the double-edged sword of imagination. It can create civilization or genocide, democracy or empire, compassion or conquest. And it all started with a mutation in the way we think. It is doubtful whether Homo sapiens has been a blessing or a curse for Earth. That's Harari's haunting reflection. We gained the power to reshape the world, but not the wisdom to do it gently. So here we are, 70,000 years later, still trying to manage the consequences of our own imagination. What's the real lesson of Chapter 2? That human history didn't begin with farming, cities, or writing. It began when we started believing in things that don't exist. That's our legacy and our burden. Every culture, every government, every social order you know is built on a story we tell each other. And those stories are powerful enough to move mountains or blow them up. The cognitive revolution gave us godlike powers, but it also gave us nightmares, wars, and existential dread. So the next time you look at a flag, a passport, a dollar bill, or a law, ask yourself, who decided this was real? And what would happen if we stopped believing? That's the power of fiction. That's the power of being human. Thanks for watching our breakdown of Chapter 2 of Sapiens. If this video blew your mind even a little, hit that like button and subscribe for more chapter-by-chapter insights. We've got big things coming up, like the agricultural revolution, the birth of empires, and even how money became humanity's most successful story ever told. Drop a comment below. What's one imagined reality you never questioned before? Let us keep the conversation going, because understanding the past might just be the key to changing the future. Until next time, remember, the most powerful force in human history is the story you believe.